Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about astrology and the retirement of Tom Brady. Tom Brady made his announcement, I believe it was today, um, and that he is retiring. He says it's for good. He sounded very adamant regarding this. I believe my own opinion is I think this likely is his retirement, the official one, the one where he won't go back on, and this is going to be it for him. Tom Brady is 45 years old. He's been around for like 23 seasons or so in the NFL. His tenure has been pretty long, I would say, and he's accomplished so much. I really don't think there's much reason for him to go back. There's nothing more to prove, and I'm going to talk about some transits maybe connected with this announcement. I'm going to go into some natal placements as well, as far as about him, as a person and player, during his career. And anyway, well, I mean, Tom Brady, is sun in Leo. He's obviously somebody. I mean, the sun in astrology is connected with our basic fundamental characters. So the sun in Leo, is very courageous, has a lot of fortitude. He's obviously somebody that I'm sure liked to shine. He had sun in Leo can also have a lot of passion, be very generous as a person, somebody that is just very untiring and doesn't quit. You talk about this. I mean, sure he was able to brighten, probably still will during his life, brighten a lot of people's lives. And the sun in Leo can have an interest in sports, as Leo has a connection with that. He has his moon in Aries, and so people have seen, the moon is about our emotions, our responses to things. Even though Tom Brady overall, somebody that's very likable disposition, everything, and even temperament, which is evident by his Libra Ascendant, I'm sure. But when you look at some of his reactions can be acerbic, and I'm sure he's had some acrimonious disputes with people, even his work life, because he has the moon in Aries in the sixth house. But it's also the focal point of a yod configuration. So that moon in Aries is very significant in him, and his, may have been instrumental in his career because it falls in his sixth house of employment. And the moon in Aries, I mean, Aries can be pioneering. It's about leadership. That's Aries is connected, with say sports that could be volatile. It's something where Moon is connected with the public. So he was publicly recognized by many as somebody that had good leadership prowess and ability, a person that could be aggressive, could be assertive, somebody that had was had a lot of courage, was not afraid, that can be outspoken. And that's in the sixth house of his work and employment. So that's where a lot of that energy came out. And the thing with Tom Brady as well, and that moon again, what's very important about that as well is the fact that it's also in a grand fire trine configuration, which really is very auspicious for just general leadership capability. And it's also being the sun in Leo, being very creative is in that mix as well. He has Neptune in Sagittarius in that mix. He's got, Neptune in Sagittarius, though generational, can be about very big, prodigious dreams. It's in the second house of income. He has, and then the sun in Leo, I wanted to state, he's got that in the 10th house of career, and it appears to be close, likely conjunction to Saturn, which shows that he was Tom Brady is somebody that took his life, and still takes it very seriously, I'm sure. And a life, the sun astrology is about our life, Saturn is connected with the career and responsibility, laborious effort. So it was a life in which he has worked very hard, I'm sure, very industrious manner, with a lot of that Leo ferocity and passion, and very and a lot of and Leo is also very confident, and I'm sure there was a lot. He went into a lot of these games where he had a tremendous exorbitant amount of confidence. That is, again, the sun is about our basic fundamental character. And being in the 10th house of career, he was not one. Tom Brady certainly not one to take a back seat. Um, he's definitely I believe he thrives on the limelight. Having a Libra ascendant, he's somebody that may come across though as more reticent and humble. And I do believe he generally is somebody that actually is a reticent person, a person that's not despite having the sun being in flamboyant Leo, he is a person that doesn't take what he does for granted by any means. A person that appreciates his success, and somebody that understands the team concept and is grateful for having the team around him during his career, having being blessed having tremendous teammates. Now, as far as some transits go, with Tom Brady and his retirement, the one thing that stands out to me is that he has transit South Node in Scorpio, making a conjunction to his Uranus in Scorpio in the first house. Now, as many of you may know, South Node, reflects what we're going away from. And Uranus is connected with groups, clubs, organizations, which can include teams, and that's a sign that that's what you're going away from. South Node, conjoining Uranus, it's an indicator of going away from a group, club, or organization. And the fact it's in Scorpio, one in which he had much power, and it's connected, more, for him being in the first house, very connected, with himself, for his own personal, reasons for doing so. There may be reasons he may disclose, but I'm sure there's other reasons in which he was going to keep to himself. He does have Pluto on the ascendant, conjunct the ascendant, tells me, he's probably a little bit more secretive, more so than the typical, Leo Sun, Libra ascendant combination. And another thing that I noticed as well, another interesting conjunction he has, is that he has a transit. Jupiter appears to be conjoining his natal moon, or at least very close to it, even if it's a loose conjunction. And this is something that tells me, Jupiter is about sports, and you have the moon connected with the public. Well, the moon is also about publishing and Jupiter is also connected with publishing and advertising. This is something could manifest in a number of ways, with Jupiter being about sports for one thing, and hitting the natal moon. That could manifest in something sports related that was going to go public, and being in Aries, a volatile sport, in this case being football. And this is and it's in the 6th house of work and employment, or it's something that he was going to publish, go public with publishing in his own way, because Jupiter is connected with the publishing and advertising, and the moon is associated with the public. And this was, in being in Aries too, it was done in a little kind of abrupt way, and very, I don't want to say impulsive, but he was very concise with what he said regarding his retirement. He was not, he put it very succinctly, basically said, this is it. This is, I'm retiring, for good this time. And I do believe he at least means it. I believe that Tom Brady believes he's actually retiring at this point in time. There's always, the remote chance he could come back, I guess, but that's all, speculation, conjecture. I think he probably will stay retired. But another thing that I noticed, Two, it was happening with Tom Brady. The transit Uranus is very close to his eighth house cusp at this time, and Uranus is the planet of unpredictability. It being spontaneity. The eighth house is the house of transformation. It's shared resources. This is the time something unexpected happened where there's a major change in Tom Brady's life. And being in Taurus, the sign of values, it may have to do with what he's actually valuing right now more so, than before. And another thing too I notice is that at this point, he has a transit Mercury in Capricorn. At this time is approaching his fourth house cusp. And Mercury in Capricorn, the transit by itself could be more, introspective in thinking. A lot of thinking that's planned, premeditated, and it could be also communication regarding one's career, making the square to his ascendant. It's something where he probably had a little trouble in actually communicating at this time. My and being able to really articulate what he truly wanted to say. The thing about this is, I believe. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that. I'm back. But anyway, the thing about this with Tom Brady, and this is from a non-astrological perspective and vantage point, is the fact that I really, there's part of me that believes that maybe Tom Brady truly, he had a hard time leaving and being out wanting and saying he's going to retire, because there's a part of him that probably has so much passion for this game that he may not truly wanted to retire, but it's at a point now in his life where he feels he has to do this, and for other reasons and things that may be taking precedence over football this time, such as family, as an example. And in looking at this, some other things I've noticed, with this with Tom Brady at this time, is that we're looking at another transit with the you look at the North Node, the transit of the North Node in his seventh house right now, the North Node in Taurus in the seventh house. It tells me that maybe his future right now may be connected with having very stable, relationships and connections at this time, and maybe he will be, finding a significant other sooner than later. Some other things I noticed too is that Tom Brady also, when I look at this, he's got the transit Sun in Aquarius in the fourth house right now. So a lot of the Sun is about our focus, and Aquarius is about the future. And this is about, the focus on the future of his home life, family at this time, what he wants to do at the latter part of life, which is generally like age 50 and up. And I mean, he's 45 right now, so in 5 years he'll be hitting, of course, to 50. Actually, less, because he's going to be 46 in August, I believe. So that would mean that he would be in that case he will be, it's about 4 years away. So this is the time now for him, I would say, to be doing such. And this could be, when you look at this as well, he's got transit Pluto in the fourth house. So now it's about gaining power and control of that latter part of life. A lot of it being in Capricorn, it's about endings. I'm sorry, not about endings. It's about, a lot of, Pluto is about, what we, it could be about, our passion and desire. And in being in Capricorn, Capricorn is discipline. And it's really about, it could be matters connected with the home and family as well, with Pluto being in the fourth house, transiting the fourth house. It doesn't mean, there also may be some upheavals and crisis he may have to deal with at some point in time. in his home life with this transit as well, but hopefully it won't manifest that way for Tom Brady. And also too, this transit Saturn is in his fifth house, which could indicate more responsibility, to could be matters with love, with children. It could be with investments, at this point in time. And really, just trying to see if there's anything else to touch up on at this time as far as transits go for Tom Brady. I noticed that transit Neptune looks like it's coming, it's at least in his sixth house, if not closing in on the sixth house cusp. So it might be a time for Tom Brady too, where he might actually be relaxing a little bit more in the daily routine, and he's obviously entitled to at this time. He has, I mean, his longevity in the NFL obviously is off the charts. He's somebody that has really transcended time with what he's done for the league, and also to inspire others in this process as well. So there's really, it's really not enough superlatives to really say when we're trying to describe and talk about, Tom Brady, legendary, quarterback. He's going to, I mean, at this point in time, most people will concur and agree with that. He's the greatest ever, and you have the conversation about him being the greatest quarterback ever and the best quarterback ever. And what it is there's a distinction between the two. The Tom Brady, he had as far as the greatest quarterback of all time, I would say it's more defined by the the individual accolades and the career accomplishments. And Tom Brady has that, the 7 Super Bowl rings, and number of NFL statistical records. The player, as far as the best of all time, may actually go to Aaron Rodgers as far as the individual talent goes, and just doing certain things on the field that he was able to do that other quarterbacks can do. I mean, Aaron Rodgers would be like, I saw him like practically laying on the ground, completing a touchdown pass to somebody one time. So there are, it's a little bit subjective. You have different honors for different for different athletes, but Tom Brady, I mean, it would really be hard to debate that anybody else as far as a quarterback in the NFL has had a better career, and I don't know if anyone ever will. Patrick Mahomes may have the best chance of surpassing Brady in some records. I don't know if we'll see those 7 Super Bowl titles be surpassed in our lifetime. I think that's something, at least in our, no, and I say, well, not our lifetime because everybody's a different age. My lifetime, I might be around 20 more years. I don't know if Mahomes is going to win 7 Super Bowls in his career. He's got one right now. He has an opportunity to win a second one if Kansas City happens to beat the Eagles in this upcoming Super Bowl. I don't think I'm going to see Mahomes or anybody do, get 7 Super Bowl rings during their career. It's just not going to happen, at least not in my lifetime. And that record is, for right now, for all intents and purposes, I think is pretty much untouchable. Because you have to have so many things go right to be able to be on the team or teams to win 7 Super Bowls. It's a lot of cooperation from a lot of people, and having your key proponents on the team staying injury free and things of that nature. But anyways, really not much more to really for me to say in terms for Tom Brady, in terms of NATO placements and transits. I'd like to say though that as far as what Tom Brady can do, when he later on in his career, if he decides, I do see him being someone that could be a good NFL analyst. He has his Mercury and its dignity in Virgo, which is very analytical, and could pick up on things very quickly. Mercury in Virgo might not always be patient with those that don't think as fast as they do. and he has Mercury in Virgo making a sextile to Uranus and Scorpio, so it's a good combination for communication on television, I would say. So he does have, I mean, he for me in his Mercury in Virgo is in the 11th house of of groups and teams, which can include sports teams. So it's a very, I think for me in looking at having the Sun in Leo, which is very confident and self-assured. I think he's got really a good. Um, I think he's somebody that can be a good analyst. Sagittarius on the third house cusp can be a good communicator about sports. So I think that's something he may do at some point in the future. Who knows really when that may transpire, but I do see Tom Brady as somebody that could be a very good like color commentator, very good analyst, I think. And then having a Libra ascendant, he has some communicative literary ability that he can bring out very naturally, because the ascendant of course is connected with our qualities that we express very naturally and readily. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.